Stress versus pressure. My formula for handling pressure is simple. I consider pressure to be an ally and stress to be the enemy. It's a philosophy I follow both in my personal life and my professional life as a basketball coach. Yes, pressure is always there in some form, whether in the workplace or in our personal lives. It's part of contemporary life, the product of our fast-paced jingle-jangle culture. But we cannot allow it to control our performance in a negative way. Most people will tell you that there's good pressure and bad pressure. I don't believe that. Pressure is neutral. It's how you choose to view it that determines whether it's good or bad. If you use it to your advantage, it's good pressure. Let it control you, and it becomes bad pressure, or, more importantly, stress. There are a lot of people who try to deny that pressure exists. Either that, or they try to downplay it. Both strategies are losing ones. You have to both recognize it and prepare for it. But pressure in itself is not the enemy. Stress is the enemy. And stress appears when you're not prepared, not focused on your job. It shows up when you're cutting corners and looking for shortcuts. Remember when you were in school and you had a big test, but you knew you didn't study enough? You knew you weren't prepared? That was stress. Stress occurs when you are being asked to do something you're not sure you can do. From driving on icy roads, to having to do all your Christmas shopping in one day because you left it until the last minute, to having to work all weekend to finish a project. Stress also lowers your confidence. Because of this, you cannot possibly reach the proper level necessary to achieve success. When stress becomes a factor, you make bad decisions. You don't perform well, you feel anxious, you choke. If you observe people in business, you can often see who is under stress rather than pressure. It's the people who are irritable and short-tempered, the people who seem to view their work as some terrible burden. They are the people who may drink too much. They bring their problems home with them. They have mood swings. They get easily frustrated. Eventually, their lifestyle itself becomes stressful, which only compounds the problem. You know them. They're all around you every day. These people often try to mask their stress by knocking their opposition. Instead of promoting their own product, they attempt to show they're better by creating negative feelings about their competition. They're always griping about other people in the office, as if by somehow denigrating others, they cast themselves in a more favorable light. Certainly you have to confront your competition, whether it's a competitor, an opponent, or simply some obstacle you perceive to be in the way of reaching your goals. Not by denigrating that competition, but by trying to be better. How do you do this? By being truthful, and by creating a measuring stick that keeps you to a higher standard than your competitor. You're keeping the pressure on, but not letting the poison of stress pervade your attitude. In recruiting, I try to avoid mentioning the other schools I'm competing against until the right time comes. When the recruiter's narrowed his list to a few schools, at that time I share information. But first praise the opposition for being organized and efficient. Then I tell a recruit that it's now time to take a close look at each school's roster and see how he stacks up at his position. Which school offers him the best chance of getting his share of playing time? We try and give the recruit information that will benefit our situation. But we don't recruit by denigrating another school. The student who does not study for an exam understands all too well that pressure is not his ally. The salesperson who sneaks away in the afternoons to play golf knows the same thing. People who are undisciplined and unstructured, with fuzzy goals and no plan of attack, certainly know pressure is not a friend. All of these people intuitively know, even if they can't articulate it, that any kind of pressure is going to knock their fragile world into 1,000 tiny pieces. They know that any kind of pressure is instantly going to turn into stress, because they have not prepared themselves to handle it. You must keep things in perspective. Everyday problems are not usually life and death situations. Most of us are simply trying to be more successful in our lives. Also remember that stress is not just happening to you alone. You're not an island. We all have periods of anxiety. We all have times when the butterflies are in our stomach. We wouldn't be human if we didn't. But doubt is something else again. Doubt is a crippler. You must do everything you can to get doubt out of the equation. Sure, there are periods of uncertainty when you face a pressurized situation, but uncertainty doesn't have to translate into failure. All uncertainty means is you don't know what lies ahead. The art of keeping things in perspective is a key element in battling stress. Here are a few other habits to maintain to minimize stress in your life. Believe in your discipline. The more stressful the situation, the more you must rely on the essential building blocks we've been talking about. Don't confuse yesterday's pressure or tomorrow's pressure with today's pressure. Live for the moment you're facing. Take care of today, and tomorrow becomes easier to deal with. Don't waste precious energy worrying about what you have to do tomorrow. It's like the person who doesn't sleep well because he's worried about the future. And then he can't perform well today either because he's too tired. This is self-defeating. It's human nature to initially panic when faced with a big project, for example. As the old adage says, you look down all the road, and all you see is more road. All this does is heighten stress. Instead, break the project down into small, achievable segments. It won't seem as overwhelming. You want to be looking at small, achievable goals that lead to larger goals regardless of the task. Don't let people tell you what you can't do. Only allow people to influence you when they can help you in a positive way. Spend more time doing and less time complaining. This is all wasted energy, energy that could be better used for something else. Stay positive under pressure. What are your pressure points? There's no question that my Kentucky team faced an unbelievable amount of pressure last year. In the fall of '95, we went into the season as everybody's number one, the consensus choice to win the national championship. Kentucky fans, desperate for their first NCAA championship since 1978, felt from day one that anything short of a national title would be a failure. Win it all was about the only thing my players, my coaches, and I heard as soon as we came back to school in September. The question for me as a coach was, how do we deal with this? It would have been foolish for me to tell my players there was no pressure on them. Of course there was pressure on them. So I decided before the season started to publicly embrace the pressure. I told my players that yes, there was pressure on us that said if we didn't win the national championship, we were going to be asked to explain why we had failed. Maybe more important, there was the pressure we had put on ourselves because we also were the best team in the country. We also felt we deserved victory because we all had worked so hard in preparing for the season. I truly believe that we were able to win the national championship because we as a team came to understand the difference between good pressure and bad pressure. We were able to take the pressure and make it work for us. The first thing we did was create short-term goals for ourselves. We wanted to be the best half-court defensive team in the country. We wanted to lead the country in causing the most turnovers by our opposition. We wanted to be a great rebounding team. Because it's very difficult to maintain excellence as an abstraction. We needed those specific short-term goals we could work on every day. When we knew we were getting closer and closer to our goal, we again talked about the pressure that was on us. Again, we embraced it and viewed it as a friend, not as an enemy. We decided we'd treat every day as if it were our last game. We would try to live in the present and savor the great ride we were on. We decided every night out we would try to rise to an all-time level of performance, and that if we lost, it would be because the other team was better, not because we had let the pressure we were facing become stress and have it affect our performance. Pressure is a motivating force. It helps you run faster, jump higher, play better defense. It makes you focus in on your opponent and put out maximum effort to execute at high efficiency. We all have pressure points. With my Kentucky team, it was living up to other people's expectations. But they took that as a challenge. So you must identify what the pressures in your life are and try to make those pressures work for you rather than inhibit you. Rather than perceiving responsibilities as pressure points, we need to take a cold, hard look at what's actually causing the pressure. For instance, that report you have due Monday morning on your boss's desk isn't your pressure. Neither is the fact you promised to take your kids away camping when you should be finishing up your report. What's really the pressure is time and how you handle it. You need to see how you manage time as an area for improvement, not your work or your family. Then work on a solution from there. Let's say, for example, you have so many things to do every day that you always feel harried. This is a common complaint. How do you cope with this? Make sure you're organizing your time efficiently. Like we've discussed earlier, write things down. Prioritize them. What things definitely have to be done today and what can be put off. Then do triage on the tasks you must get done today. Again, try to do the more unpleasant tasks earlier in the day, alleviating some of the pressure as soon in the day as possible. Prioritizing also makes you focus on what you have to do that day. That in itself invariably makes you better at performing those tasks, which in turn raises your self-confidence. This is the way you make pressure work for you and become your ally. This is when pressure makes what you do more fun. It makes all that pain of repetition and practice worth the price you've paid in sweat, toil, and hard work. Pressure only becomes a negative if you let it. We must prepare for pressure. The weekend golfer who